Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition, a Thursday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios, where purchases in June have 0% APR until 2030. I got a good show lined up today. We'll have Brent Beaird, our college football analyst, Heisman Trophy voter, and we'll have Dr. Peter Indelicato talking about the issues for team doctors in this NIL era. If you missed it last night, Arkansas just is cursed. They cannot win at the College World Series. Let's go to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're joined by our Heisman Trophy voter and college football analyst and many other things, Brent Beaird. Good morning, Brent. How you doing?
Hey, Shane. Much going on as we near July and some big dates in college football. We have another magazine, SEC. Lindy's edition is out along with the national edition, and also Athlon. We're waiting on Phil Steele, who should be out somewhere around July the 4th.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about this yesterday, Brent. Usually we have this, it seems like forever wait for college football. For whatever reason this year, and I don't know if it's because the Gators went deep in the NCAA tournament or what, but I mean, we're basically 2 months away from football.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Well, the other thing going on is we're having these big issues that we'll get into in a minute that are in front of us every day for one reason or another. And because of that, college football has been in the news, be it good, be it not so good, almost on a daily basis, right? So I think that's why that it's been a shorter off season than it normally is.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, jumping right into it, tell us what's going on with the playoffs, with the portal. It seems like it changes or new ideas come up daily.
They do. We have not had any answers yet and any decisions made, but they met again this week in Asheville, North Carolina. So as I said, everything is on the table, but nothing yet has been decided. So now, but we say that, but the important thing is there's going to be a lot of decisions made in a short period of time. They're going to be changing the calendar. And frankly, right now, that's college football's biggest problem is they've got to be able to change the calendar. And Shane, they've got to do it by July the 1st. That's the date in which these guys need that kind of pressure on them right now, I think, to make some of these decisions. One decision is the transfer portal. About half the coaches and officials want one, the other ones want two. Some want it and leave it in April. Some wanted to only have one in January. So that's one issue that is going on. We're basically going to have a salary cap with this $20.5 million. That's why July 1st is so important, because that's when the money starts rolling in. Now, here's something we've talked about for maybe 2 decades at least. Signing day is going to be changed significantly. Right now, signing day is in December, first week, and it's also in February. It's something we've talked about for years is why isn't signing day in the summer? Well, it's probably going to be in the summer in the next few months because the current signing day model does not work with this salary cap situation. So when's it going to be? Well, June, July, August, or September. That's how quickly and different that it's going to be. These kids are visiting now in the month of June. Now, the other thing that's going to be happening, we think, are OTAs. Like the NFL, that we're not only going to have spring football, but you're going to have some OTAs in maybe May or in June. So, Shane, it's coming. They've got a deadline. They've got to get this done. So, as you can see, there's some really important questions to be answered over the next few days.
Yeah, and it's almost like there's so much up in the air, and with the portal dates and signing dates and all that, they all just say, you know what, we're going to duplicate what the National Football League does, because they have a portal date, which is free agency. So why not just use the same date and let's just go from there? So,
agree.
It seems to me that would be too logical, but maybe not. Brent, the All Sports Trophy was awarded to the Texas Longhorns. Did that surprise you at all?
No, not really. The only thing that maybe is a bit of a surprise would be that Stanford or USC didn't win it, but Texas was first, USC was second, and Stanford was third. Now you think people may think, well, gosh, Stanford's terrible in football. Well, they are, but Stanford, Shane, as you know, Stanford has about 30 sports that they offer. And look, it's not a level playing field as far as number of sports, and we understand that. And the shame of it is, with all the changes in college football, and I'm sure people have heard this week, is you've got colleges dropping sports already. So, but for the here and the now, Texas is won the All Sports Trophy for this year.
The Pac-12 is coming back, correct?
Well, in some form or fashion, it is. Yes. I mean, they had only Oregon and Washington. Those were the only two teams. They've added Fresno State, San Diego State, Boise State, and Colorado State, Utah State. Now, Gonzaga's going to be playing in it too, but they don't have a basketball program. Texas State has been mentioned. So, look, things are different now with expansion. So the Pac-12 or Pac-2, maybe hopefully to be the Pac-12 again. That's what they're working on. Been a lot in the news this week about what does Memphis do. Obviously, Memphis has a good football team and a good basketball team. 11 years in a row they've been bowl eligible, which is significant for them. So, does Memphis stay where they are, or they're trying to get the attention of some of the Power 4 conferences, and that has not worked. So, the bottom line is, Shane, is you and I like to say, expansion is never dead; it's only dormant.
Very true. Electronics World Integration and Design Specialist for smart home automation and entertainment, affordable local installation, service, and support. Check them out, electronicsworld.net. Brent, the Manning Passing Academy, which has grown over the years, cranking up here pretty soon. Got a lot of SEC quarterbacks going to go there and help be counselors.
Listen, I would love to be a fly on the wall and just to hear the stories. I'm curious if you've ever been. It starts June 26th through 29th. They've actually got two other camps. One in June is the Louisiana Line Camp for offensive linemen. And there's another one called the Pro Football Camp. It's one day in July the 11th. But I won't go into great detail here, but the Manning family, to their credit, has kept this thing going. It started in 1996. You've got some of the best players. I mean, most of the quarterbacks in the SEC will be there as counselors. Now, Shane, I'm sure you can believe this, but Orlando offered the Mannings a lot of money to move it but they don't want to move it. They feel it's important to have it in the state of Louisiana. But look, I mean, if you're a high school football player and you're at this camp, you get some pretty good teaching and coaching from SEC quarterbacks, and I'm sure the Mannings are involved with it one way or another.
Yeah, what the Mannings need to do is have multiple camps, one in Louisiana, one in Orlando. That would help people having to travel, help the travel for some of these families, for sure. John on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, where was Florida in the All Sports Trophy Award? Do you have that information, Brent, or no?
I don't. I would have to look that up, but I'll try to get that as we move along here. Yeah.
Speaking of the SEC quarterbacks, who is underrated or overrated, Brent?
Yeah, the Saturday Down South had this week about who is overrated and underrated. The overrated, what they're saying is Arch Manning, obviously of Texas, Marcel Reed of A&M, DJ Lagway's on the overrated list. Now, why he's on that's beyond me. Zach Calzada at Kentucky, going in his 7th year. Now,
not rated at all.
Yeah, really. They've got another category called properly rated. And the guys with that, Lenore Sellers of South Carolina, Garrett Nussmeier of LSU, Diego Pavia of Vanderbilt, Bo Pribble of Missouri, who transferred from Penn State, Austin Simmons of Ole Miss, and Joey Aguilar from Tennessee. The underrated guys, they're saying, or Jackson Arnold of Auburn, John Mateer of Oklahoma, Taylor Green of Arkansas, Blake Shapen, Mississippi State, Gunnar Stockton of Georgia, and Ty Simpson from Alabama. Now, in fairness, some of these guys are underrated because they haven't been on the field very long. Gunnar Stockton's played very little. Ty Simpson played little of any. So, but because we like lists like that, that's what Saturday Down South is saying about some of the SEC quarterbacks.
Speaking of the SEC, what's going on in Tuscaloosa with the Alabama Crimson Tide?
Ryan Grubb, the new offensive coordinator, was interviewed this week on Ryan Fowler's show on Tide 100.9, and he was talking about the Alabama quarterbacks and that they need to be have all the physical attributes, need to be elite decision makers, consistent. I mean, this is stuff that we all know, but Grubb's a really good coordinator. He has been with Kalen DeBoer before when Washington made their deep run into the playoffs. So we heard a little bit more from Grubb this week as the Tide gets ready for that opener in Tallahassee against Florida State.
That's not week 0. That's week 1, correct? That game?
Week 1, yeah. Yeah, and the other thing about that is a lot of people thought that Lee Corso's last game would be in Tallahassee. Well, that won't be the case. He'll be at Texas, Ohio State. So, unfortunately, ESPN probably made a mistake. I mean, I understand being at Texas, Ohio State. It's the biggest game of the weekend besides LSU Clemson. But that would have been appropriate, really, to have had Corso in Tallahassee one more time.
Yeah. Baron71 on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, QB, is there an email for PodUp that we can send questions in the future for guests? Yeah, but honestly, I don't hardly ever look at them, or they don't send them to me. So I would say just send those questions to the Titan MR text line. They get to me much quicker. Mike wants to know, who do we know who backs up DJ Lagway? That will probably be Harrison Bailey, would be my guess. What's going on with the Arkansas Razorbacks, Brent?
They're hoping to improve their pass defense, which was last in the SEC last year. They've got an Auburn transfer, Caleb Wooden, who they are depending on. He spent the last 3 years at Auburn, started 8 of 22 games. So that's going to be incredibly important for them to get to be better. Travis Williams is a pretty good defensive coordinator at Arkansas. Now, we think they'll be pretty good with Taylor Green and Bobby Petrino at quarterback and also as the offensive coordinator. But they need to show up that defense, so that's going to be important too. And by the way, Shane, I probably need to mention this more often. If anybody wants to send me a question on Twitter, you can direct mail me. Would be at Brent Beaird. It's just that simple, Beaird. So sometimes we don't get everything in here, and I understand. But if anybody wants to send a question off air, that they're welcome to do that.
There you go. Speaking of a question on Titan MR text line, this someone sent to this yesterday, Brent. I want to ask you as well. They said, who has more pressure in the SEC this year? Billy Napier, Brian Kelly, Hugh Freeze, or gosh, I can't find it. I was trying to remember it. It was
Sam
Kelly.
Pittman.
No, nobody cares about it. Nobody cares about Arkansas. It was. I cannot believe I can't remember this. I guess I could look it up on the Titan MR text line. But anyway, I'll think of it in a minute. But who do you think has the most pressure on them this year?
Well, I'm going to go with Freeze and Kelly. Freeze has said in a very transparent moment recently. He said if we don't go to a bowl game, I won't be back. I think everybody understands that. But that's a real issue for them. There's a lot of pressure on him. They start with Baylor on a Friday night. Now, this is what I've been told about Brian Kelly, and this is from a LSU beat writer who said Kelly really is not going anywhere unless they have an unmitigated disaster. If they have a 2-10, he may be gone at that point, but that's what it would take. The buyout's too big, but Kelly also knows they've got to be able to get to play better, and that opener is huge at Clemson because they have not won an opener in like 5 years. So Shane, I'm going to say Kelly has some, but I think Freeze probably has more than anybody.
Yeah, the other coach that the texter put in there was Kalen DeBoer, because they lost to some teams they probably shouldn't have lost to last year going into year two. But I'm with you. I think it's probably Hugh Freeze and Brian Kelly with the most pressure on them. What's going on with the Florida Gators?
Well, recruiting. They've had an unbelievable week. I won't go into all the names, but the job that coaching staff has done has just been amazing. And one of the things, now they, even over the weekend, they had some commitments, one from Georgia, one from Alabama, one from Mississippi. They've had others from the state of Florida. They're recruiting right now probably as well or better virtually than anybody in the conference. Georgia's doing its normal, really good job. And I know one of the latest guys they got, Javaria Lucas, 6'5", 305. He's a right tackle from Glade Central, just, kind of typical of what they have done as of late. But if you're a Gator fan, you've got to be happy about what the future looks like with these guys coming in.
Yeah, for sure. We haven't talked much about Tennessee lately, Brent. I don't know what to make of their team. I know they lost a lot of good players last year. Obviously, we know about the quarterback trade or what have you. I think they're going to be fine at the quarterback position. But do they have somebody to replace that stud tailback?
I think that's the biggest question they've got. Frankly, Dylan Sampson is who Shane is talking about. Deshaun Bishop is one guy. Peyton Lewis is another that they're looking at. Squirrel White, you remember, he was injured a lot, but he went to Florida State. We talked about Joey Aguilar, and I still think he may be better than Nico. Frankly, the guys they've really got to replace or the front seven on defense. A lot of those guys went to the NFL, including James Pierce. but they've got Dominic Bailey back. Bryson Eason is back on the defensive line. Aaron Carter, Jeremy Tolander. Their whole secondary just about comes back. Jared McCoy is really good too. But to your point, and again, when you look at, they start with Syracuse. They've got Georgia early, Shane. It's September the 13th. That's early, so teams have played in quite a while. And then they've got in a row Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Alabama, and Kentucky and Oklahoma. So the middle of their schedule is going to be extremely important.
Yeah, that is for sure. Brent, did you see the comments that Diego Pavia was making?
Yes. Basically in essence, they're going to own the state of Tennessee, right, Shane?
Good luck with that.
And listen, by the way, you probably saw this too. Pavia said he didn't name the team, that there was a SEC team that offered him $4 million in order to come play. I don't either. Now, and in the same vein here, Lenore Sellers, I think this may have been his dad who said, it was his dad. He said that Sellers was offered $8 million over the next 2 years, $4 million each, like Diego got. So, but look, Shane, I agree with you, and you hear this a lot from agents and so forth. They will say, do not believe these offers that these players say that they've been given.
No, it's all BS. Trust me. ACC news: the settlement with Clemson and Florida State. What's up?
Well, the main thing is it's done, and both those schools got a bigger slice of the pie, and that is important. Now, the new contract is from 2026, 2031, so everybody's going to be staying put with that. Also, Shane, there's a couple things here that are interesting. Duke quarterback Darian Mensah, according to Pete Nakus of On3, he's going to be making $3 million his first season. But here's something that's kind of changing. Cal football coach, and he's a good football coach, Justin Wilcox, will report directly to the football general manager, Ron Rivera, who's a familiar name.
Wait, Ron Rivera, Chico, the guy that played for the Bears and used to be the Redskins?
I believe that's who that is. But Shane, here's what's different that's changing about football. And look, I'm not saying the athletic director is not involved, but what you're seeing at some of these schools is, hiring these general managers has become a big thing. And for Justin Wilcox, that's who he is directly reporting to instead of the athletic director. So that, I don't know if SEC teams are going to start doing that a good bit, but we'll see. Florida State also, they're putting seats in the stadium by July the 1st. They've got a certificate of occupancy to be granted by July the 29th. And they're going to have some soft opening events before the game with Alabama, but they've also got a football facility that's going to be completed and got several things going on with meeting rooms and lockers that are going to be installed. So there's a lot of construction going on right now at Florida State getting ready for the fall.
Yeah, for sure. A bunch of people on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Palmer, talking about schedules. I think the Gators have supposedly their schedule's ranked number one as the toughest, but Oklahoma, I mean, look, if you play in the SEC, it's going to be pretty hard.
Absolutely.
It just all depends on your non-conference games usually when it comes to that. Brent, give us some nuggets.
Yeah, I mentioned Missouri a few minutes ago with Bo Pribulas will be at the Manning passing count. and he's also still battling Sam Horn, who is a pitcher for the Missouri baseball team. Also, I think with LSU, and I would agree with this, they're considered Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, and Auburn, and LSU have been on the list for the best wide receiver groups. And Oklahoma's now got Nick Anderson from former Oklahoma star Nick Anderson, Xavier Thomas, Chris Hilton, and Shane and I both think that Garrett Nussmeier may be the best quarterback in the SEC, or he's going to be one of them, isn't he, Shane?
Yeah, he's going to be a first-round draft pick probably. He's a really good player. People talk about how he played against Florida. I know a lot of Gator fans look at that, but from the quarterback position, he is very, very good. Brent, we had a text on the Titan More text line, and it's from Jim. Jim wants to know what your thoughts are on the Gators' win total this year. I feel like we get that question every day on the show.
Yeah, I understand that. Look, the schedule is brutal. I mean, it's just reversed. And matter of fact, I'm doing TV this week about this. I think they're going to be 8-4, 9-3. Look, if Lagway is healthy, I think the sky's the limit for them. They've got, I don't care what anybody else says, they've got as good of a skill position players, running back and wide receivers, anybody in the league. Their offensive line may be the best in the league. It's certainly returning 4 guys. I think their front 4 is going to be really good. I'm high on them. I really am. And if they can get off the snide early, and they can win at Miami. Again, it's brutal. And look, in this league, you're just going to lose games and have one of those days. But I really think right now Florida's 8-4, 9-3. And Shane, I can tell you right now, if they're 9-3, if this committee takes strength of schedule seriously, it'd be hard to leave Florida out.
Yep, for sure. Last question here for you on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Alan wants to know, Brent, wouldn't you think that Norvell has the hottest seat of all?
Well, he's got one of them. There's no doubt about that. I mean, after 2-10, it's going to get better. And the thing they don't need to happen, it's incredible to say this, but they need to. And I'm not saying they would be blown out by Alabama, but they need to play well in their opener. We mentioned Squirrel White a few minutes ago, coming over from Tennessee. Thomas Castellanos, the dual threat guy from Boston College, may be a real fit for Gus Malzahn. The new offensive coordinator, Sam Brown, in the secondary is really good, a local kid. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. I don't know if it's the hottest seat, but it certainly is one of them, too. And by the way, Shane, you'll understand this. I'll be real brief about this, but Kentucky has had a real issue with one of their assistant coaches. Have gone from he'd been with them for a long time. He's gone from Kentucky to Louisville. So talking about it reminds me when Bill Oliver went from Alabama to Auburn. You understand that state and the rivalry there. So as you can imagine, that's caused quite a lot of controversy.
No doubt about it. Brent, great stuff as always. Have a good week. We'll talk to you next week, my man.
You too, brother. Take care.
As Brent Beaird joins on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. Come back. We'll be joined by Dr. Peter Indelicato. Get his thoughts on all this craziness in the NIL from a doctor's perspective. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Cogent Bank, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
Coach, you know what always impressed me, how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spur's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean head beer coach, 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. There are many car washes at Gainesville, but only one Gallo Car Wash. It's locally owned by the UF alum, and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations are Northwest 13th Street, Southwest Willis Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. Back to the Titan No More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're joined by Dr. Peter Indelicato. How are we doing, Doc?
I'm good. Shane, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedule. You're usually on some speaking tour event. Let's talk about something that I think a lot of people around the country don't realize. And we talked about this on another show, and you and I have talked about it a little bit from a team doctor standpoint, with now these athletes being paid X amount of dollars, that it puts doctors kind of in a bad situation. Tell them why.
Okay, well, I mean, now that there's a distinctive dollar value associated with an athlete in terms of his financial value, trying to maintain their skills and productivity, particularly following an injury, places a lot more pressure on that doctor. And as this situation unfolds, the concern is, and it's not an imaginary concern, is that if the outcome of the care or the surgical procedure is less than ideal, which, as we all know, is very possible, the value of that athlete gets infringed upon, and as a result, the doctor takes a risk in terms of the outcome being less than ideal. His liability, his being the doctor's liability, goes up, and that's all brand new now with this NIL issue that has now trickled down into the college level. It's always been there at the professional level, in theory, but actually it's actually happened where doctors that have good outcomes, or the best outcome that can be achieved, are still being labeled in malpractice suits and being subject to huge multi-million-dollar settlements. So that's a new issue now that team physicians at the university level are going to have to deal with.
Yeah, so this text here on the Titan Mark text line from James in Nashville, he wants to know what the difference is for doctors operating on an NFL athlete or just a professional athlete compared to a college athlete. But since the correct me if I'm wrong, Doc, since the professional contract players under a contract, it's usually a workers' comp deal, correct?
That's correct, and that even adds to the chaos, is that you're operating on a multi-million-dollar a year athlete, and your surgical fees are limited to workman's comp wages or levels. So for an exposure of $40 or $50 million liability, you're only collecting maybe $1,000 as a result of that surgical fee due to the fact that it's workman's comp. So the risk benefit in dealing with these high profile multi-million-dollar athletes is basically ridiculous. And as a result, a lot of the internationally known doctors that were easily accessible by professional athletes are now saying, no, we're not going to take care of you, because the liability is just totally unacceptable.
So player X has an injury, blows an ACL out at school X. Pretty much all the major universities have what they call team physicians, team orthopedic doctors.
Correct.
That doctor now, with the way the world is with NIL, usually would say, yes, we're going to have surgery in a week or whatever. Now that doctor doesn't necessarily have to do that. He can say no.
Right. He never had to do it, and the athlete never had to go to that doctor. I mean, there's always an opportunity for an athlete to get a second or a third opinion, right. And that's fine. That's the way life should be. But the doctor can say to the athlete, you know what? Your $6 million NIL contract isn't worth the risk for me to fix that ACL, because before you tore your ACL, if you ran a 4.3 40 and now you're getting paid $6 million, but after I fix your ACL, you can only run a 4.5 40. That doctor most likely is going to hear from an attorney or an agent saying, you know, you could have done better. We can send you out. We can send this athlete out to find some doctors that can say you did something different when in fact you didn't. It's a lot of these potentially going to end up in jury trials, Shane. And I'm just telling you as a fact that doctors, team physicians, are very likely now to say, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this particular athlete. The risk is too great. He's going to have to go off somewhere and find somebody else. And when the athletes used to do that on their part, to go seek these very, very internationally recognized physicians, those physicians are saying no because of the exposure they get. So at the end of the day, not just in theory, the access to good quality medical care for these high-profile athletes may not be as obvious or as available as in the future as it has been in the past.
So, I mean, you've been doing this a long time, and obviously you're retired now, but you go speak at different places, give your advice. What is the solution, you think? I mean, like, what should be done?
Well, there are 5 states that legally you can before you take on a patient, you can have that patient sign a waiver saying that my liability cap is a certain dollar amount that that the doctor can live with. That's what his malpractice insurance cap is. But in the other 45 states, you cannot legally bind an athlete to say there is a cap to not only my wages, but my pain and suffering. That has to be fixed. You're asking me what the solution is? Just off the top of my head, there has to be some kind of limitation of liability that physicians have in taking care of these multi-million-dollar athletes, whether they are the official team physician or not.
Yeah, we got on YouTube here. Was it on YouTube? Yeah, YouTube. Brought to you by Quality Plum. AU Gator says, could Anthony Richardson be an example of having continuous shoulder issues given post-surgery?
There you go. I mean, I don't know if there's anything been initiated by Anthony regarding his health care but that could be that could be something that happens down the line. And remember,
Ted has a quick. Go ahead, Doc.
The reimbursement that the doctors get, they're not getting $40,000 or $50,000 an operation. They're getting minimal workman's comp reimbursement fee schedule, and they showed this to a series of trial attorneys, the situation, and university, they said that the doctors are crazy to do this, to continue to do it the way they are.
Wow. Ted's question for you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melvin Law, says, does the scholarships include health insurance, or with NIL, does the player get their own health insurance? I'm trying to think back to my days. I never even thought about this, but a lot of players, high profile guys, probably had the Lloyd's of London type insurance policies, but you do get health insurance.
The NIL, my understanding is the NIL not only includes health insurance while they're actively playing, but I think the new contract, it will allow the athlete to receive health insurance benefits for 10 years after he or she finishes their eligibility.
QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief, no surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule a free consultation at QC Kinetics. A few more minutes here with Dr. Pete Indelicato discussing the issues for team doctors now with the new world of NIL. Yeah, it's a crazy deal. And, obviously you were the Gator team doc for so many years. You were the team doc for the Miami Dolphins. I just remember my playing days. Doc, you had multiple professional athletes that came from the Chicago Bears or from the Patriots or whatever that they came down to have you work on them, correct?
Yes.
And so nowadays, if you were still practicing, you may not do that.
Correct.
Interesting. Very interesting deal. So, we do have a couple of questions here, and actually one is regarding DJ Lagway on the Titanamore text line from Bobby. He wants to know, Dr. Pete, what do you know about DJ's shoulder issues?
Well, I can't get into too many details, but all I can say you is that he is being taken care of, but by some of the top physical therapists, athletic trainers, and physicians available in this country. He's in good care. I'm very optimistic that he will have a very productive year, and his orthopedic issues will be managed very successfully.
I've brought this up multiple times on my program, Doc, and it's my opinion. Everybody has opinions, right? Whether it's right or wrong. But I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. So I played football, baseball, basketball. When I came to the University of Florida, it was just football. But I played intramural basketball. I played church league softball. I played golf. I think the athlete now trains way too much year round. And I think it's doing more harm than good. Am I crazy to think that?
Absolutely, you're not crazy. There is a problem with overtraining that leads to overuse syndromes involving basically almost every part of your musculoskeletal system, depending what sport you play as to what part you're at risk. And the psychological thing also is, and this is very well documented now, is that even if you're a multi-sport athlete, you need to step away from all sports for a defined period of time. Otherwise, you're exposing yourself from an emotional, psychological standpoint to issues that you don't have to deal with necessarily. So it's a well-documented recommendation now that athletes all through their youth and even through college step away from the sport for a defined period of time to give their basically their personality, their brain, an opportunity to take a rest, if you will. I'm putting that in very basic terms, but it's a well-documented situation now.
Yeah, I love playing sports, but I think if you go from one sport to the other, you're using different body parts. And I look at it from the quarterback standpoint. Once our football season was over, I didn't pick up a football until about 2 weeks before training camp. I didn't do a whole lot of throwing in the all season because you just get burned out, and I think too much wear and tear. So
yeah,
I guess everybody's body is definitely different.
No, you were smart beyond your years, Shane. I mean, you first of all, multiple sports are what's strongly recommended, that you don't play one sport consistently 11 and a half months out of the year, that you cross-train with multiple sports, you develop skills in playing multiple sports that help you in many of the sports that you're playing. And today, there is a huge concern about limiting a young individual's sport to one sport by their parents, because they say, well, you got to play baseball 12 months out of the year if you ever want to make a baseball player yourself. And as a result, we're seeing 10, 11, 12-year-old kids needing Tommy John procedures on their elbow, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
All right, before we get you out of here, last question for you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Andy wants to know, Dr. Pete, when you were the Gators team doctor, did you have any input on weightlifting or other training practices?
Yes, particularly when the individual athlete was dealing with or recovering from a chronic musculoskeletal issue, like low back pain, shoulder pain, leg problems. We definitely work very closely with strength conditioning coaches. And fortunately, the ones I worked with in Florida were very open-minded and willing to change their off-season conditioning program to accommodate these ongoing issues that we're trying to manage, so that when camp opens, they're as good as we can get them to be.
Dr. Pete, good stuff as always, my friend. Appreciate your time. How's your golf game?
Terrible.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about working on people's knees anymore and shoulders and this, that, and the other. You can go out and whack it around a little bit, and don't beat the head ball coach too bad.
I know. He gets in my head. I totally get crumble in front of some of the comments he makes right before I hit the ball.
Here, you want me to tell you? Here's what I used to do when I played for him, Doc. When he's cussing and screaming at you, throwing his visor, you let it go in one ear and out the other, and don't pay any attention to it. Try that.
Yeah, even when right before I'm trying to hit a 4-foot putt, he says, last time we played that putt here, or you missed it.
It's good stuff. Dr. Pete, appreciate your time. Have a good day, and we'll talk to you soon, my man.
All right, Shane. Thanks for having me.
That's Dr. Pete. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Injuries occur whenever and however, and it's never convenient. For sprains, strains, or minor fractures, UF Health Orthocare makes it convenient for you 7 days a week, including evenings and walk-ins or welcome. That's going to do it for today's program. We'll be back here same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great day, folks. Take care.